Have you ever built a campfire before? If so, did you know that by building that fire, you've actually unlocked the power for unlimited energy, fat loss, and focus? Let me explain. When you build a campfire, there are 3 types of fuel that you can use: kindling, logs, and coal. Now, the kindling is the easiest to catch on fire. It burns fast, and if you're not careful, it'll be gone before the larger logs even catch on fire. The logs take a little bit longer to catch on fire, but if you're able to burn them correctly, eventually they will catch the coals on fire and give you a nice long heat that'll keep you warm throughout the night. So how does knowing that give you unlimited energy, fat loss, and focus? Well, did you know that there are also 3 types of fuel that run your body? Carbs, proteins, and fats, and each one works differently inside of you. The first is carbs. Yes, we love them, and yes, we crave them, and as soon as we start to eat them, we get an instant burst of energy, but unfortunately, it doesn't last long, and we're left with a crash and a constant craving for more. Now next, we shift to the proteins, the building blocks for our muscles, but also they can actually be the barrier that keeps us from losing fat. And then there is the last and the best source of fuel. We call this source fat. And like the coal, if you can catch it on fire, it'll give you the longest and the best source of energy. But for most people, it's almost impossible to get to a state where they can actually burn fat. Now this is a state we call ketosis. So why is it so hard? Well, it starts with the kindling, or the carbs. We eat some, but they quickly burn off, causing our energy to drop and giving us cravings for more. We can keep throwing these sticks on the fire, but they will burn fast and never give us the consistent warmth or energy that we need. When you start to add proteins to this fire, your body can burn these logs as fuel a little bit longer, yet it still doesn't compare to what happens when you get your body to a state where it can actually burn fat. So why do we want to burn fats? Well, a few reasons. Common sense says that burning fats, well, it helps us lose fat, and he's right. But on top of that, when you get to a state where you're burning pure fats, they release ketones into your body. And these little ketones are like thousands of little motivational speakers running through your body. They give you energy, they give you focus, they make you feel incredible, and yes, they make the fat melt off your body because it's finally being burned off. It's no longer being guarded by the carbs and the proteins. So if getting through the carbs and the proteins and into the fats is so important, then why are we doing it each day? Well, the answer is because it's hard. To get our best fuel source and start burning fats and releasing ketones, the average person will have to work out 10 times harder and longer than they are now. They've got to burn through all of their carbs and all of their proteins, and then, and only then, will they finally hit their fat. Yet that's where the magic happens. But even for the most extreme people who have learned to biohack their own bodies to get into a state of ketosis, it can often take weeks or months to even get there. But when they are in that state, they are on. Perfect energy, perfect focus, and perfect fat loss. It's kind of like playing the game Pac-Man, where most of the game you spend running away from the ghost, but every once in a while, Pac-Man will eat one of those power pellets and everything suddenly changes. Instead of running away from the ghost, you're on fire and you start actually chasing the ghost, and the game becomes yours for the taking. That's how it feels when you're in ketosis. Life literally becomes yours for the taking. It's sad, but most people spend their whole life like Pac-Man at the beginning of the game, trying to stay safe and secure, not even knowing that the power pellets exist, not knowing what it's like to be on. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, having these ketones in your blood is the goal. But how do we get there without spending weeks or months biohacking our way into ketosis? Well, that's a question we asked ourselves a few years ago. And at first, it seemed like an impossible question. But recently, some scientists we work with have stumbled upon a new formula that actually made it possible. We call this new formula the Ketone Operating System, or Keto OS for short. Within just 60 minutes of taking it, your body almost instantly goes into ketosis. Check out how this works. Before Keto OS, they're not in ketosis. Within less than 60 minutes after taking Keto OS, your body is in nutritional ketosis. Isn't that awesome? But don't just take our word for it. Get your Keto OS today. And do the test and prove it to yourself. After you do, you'll discover a few things. First, Keto OS is the best tasting health drink you've ever had. Second, you'll see your body almost instantly go into nutritional ketosis. And third, you'll almost instantly feel what world-class athletes and biohackers spend weeks trying to accomplish. Your body will be in nutritional ketosis, and you'll get all the benefits that come with that. Increased fat loss, more mental clarity and focus, tons of extra energy. So do you want to experience what it feels like to be in ketosis? If so, get your Keto OS today and find out what it feels like to unlock your energy, fat loss, and focus. About 18 months ago was the first time I'd ever heard about a high-fat diet and about getting your body into ketosis and all the benefits that came with that. And it made perfect sense to me logically. So I'm like, let's try it. I want to see what's going to happen. So I started the high-fat diet, and the first thing I noticed was my brain. Like I remember feeling like more focus and more energy and just
I got addicted to that. I loved it. And so I started doing that, and it was awesome. But then I started to try to get my body into ketosis, which is a lot easier said than done. I tried that process over and over again for probably 7 or 8 months and just could never get to the point where I was, but I felt good, so I felt really happy about it. I mean, after doing that for almost a year, I was like, well, I wonder what, like a lot of friends I know have been losing weight. I don't know if I am or not, so I want to go check. And so went and got my body fat tested, and my body fat percentage actually gone up quite substantially. It was almost a 26% body fat, and I was just like, I didn't feel good about that at all. And so I finally decided, you know, even though I'm getting these amazing benefits from the high fat diet and those things, like if I'm not losing weight, like I can't keep doing it, especially if I'm gaining weight. And so I stopped. And about 2 months later, one of my friends called me and started talking about like ketosis and why this is so great. And I was like, I know, but I tried it, it didn't work for me. And so he said, well, I need you to try this thing. And he sent me out 3 sample packs of a product called Keto OS. I was like, all right, I'll try it out. So I remember the first morning I was on the run. I didn't have time to eat breakfast that morning, and I opened up the pack and I mixed it up and I drank it. And the first thing I remember, like, it tasted like really, really good. I was like, this is like drinking candy. Like, there's no way this is good for me. So I drank it, and then I went through that day, and that day I didn't have time for lunch and everything. I got home like at 4 or 5 o'clock at night, and I remember I was doing a bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden I stopped and I was like, I wasn't hungry all day long. I had tons of energy, tons of focus. I was like, there's something to this. I gotta keep trying it. So I tried my 2 other sample packs, and at that point I was hooked. Like, I was like, this is awesome. But I was out, so I was trying to get some more. It took me almost a month before I got some more. And so when I got it, I said, you know, I'm gonna try this with the high fat diet and see if it does anything, because they go hand in hand. So I started doing it and started mixing it and went back to this high fat diet again. And this time it was different though. I got the same feelings. I felt the same you know, the energy and the focus and stuff was there. But this time I started losing weight. And when I started this process, I was over 220. And just it started dropping, boom, boom. And every day I get on the scale and I lose like a pound, then a pound and a half. And I was like, there's no way that it didn't make sense, but never in my life lost weight consistently like that, boom, boom, boom. I remember the time I dropped below 200, and I was like, I haven't been below 200 pounds in probably 3.5, 4 years. And so then I told my dad, and I told my friends, I started telling everybody, all these people about it, and they start taking it. And I started sending them sample packs. And just try the sample packs. If you try those, like, first off, you'll see how good it tastes. And second off, you'll see how you feel. And third off, you're probably gonna lose weight. My dad was the same thing. He lost a pound and a half the first day, then a pound and a half the third day. And he was like, I need more, give me some more. And it's just been awesome. And so I am a huge believer in it now. For whatever reason, using Keto OS with the high fat diet, like tying those 2 things together is what worked for me. Just as kind of a final test, I went in recently to go get my body fat percentage tested again to see, like, I'm losing weight, but is it affecting the body fat percentage as well? And I dropped over 7% body fat during this period of time. You know, I don't drink coffee or things like that. I know people wake up and that's what they look forward to. For me, it's Keto OS. I wake up in the morning and mix it, I drink it, and for the rest of the day, I just have that energy and that focus. And I know that the next morning when I get on the scale, I'm gonna have lost some more weight. And so that's why I love it.
For me, one thing that I've really wanted to do as I started building my family, my wife and I have been married for 6 years, and we finally had our first baby. We finally had our first baby girl. And I don't know if you've had kids before, you know what it's like having one. And I know a lot of men put on kind of baby weight with the wife, and I put on a ton. And it's kind of been happening over the years where I had put on 30, 40 pounds. And I remember bringing Stella home for the very first time and thinking, oh man, I got this. And physically my back hurt. And because my back started hurting, I started hunching over, which was causing my legs to hurt, my knees to hurt, which was causing me to not be able to put Stella to bed. And it just, I'm not kidding, that was a big deal to me. I was sweating. I don't know if any of you have any weight to lose, but the heavier you get, the more you sweat. And the more you sweat, the more uncomfortable you get, the harder it is to put down a child. And I know I'm kind of harping on this part, but that was my new world. So I go meet a friend of mine. He flies in from Louisville, Kentucky. We meet in Orange County, and he's got an unmarked little baggie with white powder in it. I'm not kidding. So I'm going, interesting, gonna be a fun meeting. So we pour it in some water, and we drink it. And 15, 18, 20 minutes into it, physically I felt different. I looked at him and I go, I need a lot of this product. And he goes, well, I hope you let that sample last because we don't have any more. I had no idea. I was that ignorant on the topic of therapeutic ketones and ketone. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you mean, but whatever that was in that drink tasted delicious, and it made me feel like Superman in about 20 minutes. So make some more of it. Here's my address, send it to my house. I mean, I've lost 44 pounds on this product with the lifestyle that we've created, with the environment and the education that we've provided. People want what we have. Use the product, get a result with it, and just let your body do the sort of storytelling for you, and it ought to naturally, grassroots, sort of organically grow. To me, that's everything that's worked for us, is we've just kept it simple and had fun with it and just personally changed. I could have cared less what I looked like in the mirror, because it wasn't about that. It was about, could I be a better dad? And it all came from one of my friends literally giving me a sample, an unmarked sample in a baggie with some water. I shook it up and drank it and went, oh, that's awesome.
My story is one that starts where I was in the gym training 10 hours a day, and I loved my job, but you just can't stick with that too long for so many reasons. I had also began CrossFit. I wanted to try something new. Went too hard at it, too fast, and I had a pretty severe back injury, and I had gone to chiropractors and massage therapists, and nothing was working, and the chronic pain just wore on me. And so that launched me into looking into more nutrition for healing. And then about that time, I got a call from my friends who had gotten their hands on this technology. And they said, you've been practicing a ketogenic diet. How has that been for you? And I'm like, it's pretty extreme, but it's the first thing that I have found that's been healing this pain, and that has been enabling me to get back to normal. I was desperate to find something that got me out of pain and put me back to feeling like a 30-year-old who could function normal. Within weeks, my pain was gone. We're seeing a lot of really amazing stories come out from the fitness world with people doing what they've always done and now adding this in, and the journey's just not as hard as it used to be. It's my dream job to help people. And now I've found a way to stay at home from my computer and do it and be with my daughter and help provide for our family.
So about 12 years ago, I actually went into the paleo lifestyle, and I started in that model. The whole time kind of questioning where I was going, because being a recon Marine, or a former recon Marine and an elite athlete, I had been in situations where I've been starved, where I've had sleep deprivation and nutritional deprivation, and I'd been in a state of ketosis before. So I started eating all this food that was paleo. It's all healthy food based on what I knew at the time. And I wasn't getting all the results I really wanted. And then over the years, I started studying more about the paleo man, more in-depthly than just the food they ate, but just the lifestyles that they lived. And I started learning more about ketogenic diet, which is that puts your body in a state of ketosis, or almost like it feels like a food deprivation, without starving the body. But trying to stay in a diet like that long term is extremely difficult, extremely hard, and especially when I'm trying to ask my clients to do the same thing, because they wanted to go to a wedding and enjoy themselves, but they kept kicking themselves out of ketosis and they were losing the benefits. About a year ago, in last October, I met Michael Rutherford. He actually asked me, hey, can you put me in a state of ketosis? I'm like, absolutely. And about 2.5 weeks into this, he comes to my office, and after I measure his body fat and do all my analysis on him, and he lets me taste one of the original Keto OS products. After 6 weeks on the product, I've leaned out 12 pounds. I feel better, I move better. After all my injuries in the past, my joints are just not achy anymore. And ultimately, I have just more stamina throughout my day, and I have the ability to focus with each individual client much better than I ever could before, giving them more attention that they deserve. Most people it takes 3 weeks or sometimes even 4 weeks to get into nutritional ketosis because of the behavioral changes that go along with that. Now, with utilizing the product, I'm able to give them a therapeutic dose of ketones, which gives them the mental clarity, the focus, the energy, so that they can enjoy the ketones as I transition their diet towards a dual fuel diet, and getting them feeling better, in the zone faster, and enjoying their life much quicker without all the frustrations.